Okay, the public hearing is now called to order. This hearing is being held as required by the provisions of Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth and Act relative to the protection of the wetlands as mostly recently amended. Notice of the time and place of this hearing was published in the Fairhaven Neighborhood News on March 6, 2025. It was also posted in the town's clerk office. This meeting is being audioed and videotaped. Persons wish to be heard will be called in the following order. Motion to open the public meeting.
Motion to open the public meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes for approval. May 22nd, 2024, June 12th, 2024. Reviews of matters presented. Votes may be taken. I know that I went over them. I thought they were very good.
Yeah.
So, anyone else has any comments, or are we good?
Nice job, Joanne. Thank you.
Just that I was absent from the May meeting.
Yep. Okay, so let's go over to meeting mail.
I need a motion to.
Yeah, that one was up,
Please.
right?
Okay.
Just make the motion.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion for the minutes to
So
be approved.
moved. So moved.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do I gotta do a motion to open the meeting?
No, you're gonna read the planning board.
Okay. So, letter sent to the planning board and copied to the agent Milton and Chairman Souza regarding the Middle Road Solar PV development located at 211 Middle Road. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So we have a letter that was sent to me, Mark, and also Mark Francois. I'll read it out now. Dear Chairman Francois, I purchased my home at 11 Mary Drive in August of 2022. I was in part attracted to the location due to the proximity to White's Farm Field, which abuts the rear yard of my property. After several years of enjoying the view of the field and observing various wildlife that live in the area, I hope you can understand my shock and disappointment to learn of the proposal to develop the entire field as a solar farm. I have reviewed the project plans and can see that significant work is proposed directly behind my house with respect to grading, drainage swales, forebays, riprap swales, and earthen berms. I have read the town solar bylaw and see that there is a prohibition on large-scale solar installations within 150 feet of my property and 300 feet from Mary Drive. I must insist that the planning board enforce the recently adopted bylaw in all respects for the protection of the abutters to the proposed commercial energy facility. There should be no construction associated with this project within the stipulated setbacks. Whatever is required to be constructed to facilitate the approval of the project, I consider part of its installation. Your attention to my concern is greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Maria Valado. So, with that being said, do we have any comments or anything from the commission?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really fall under our purview, so,
Correct.
I mean, hopefully the planning board is, on board.
And I kind of agree, and like we always say, whether we don't believe in the solar farms, it's not our property, there really ain't much we can do. The only thing we need to do is hopefully peer reviews it real well and make sure it goes the way it's supposed to.
Hopefully they minimize, the...
Impact of anybody that lives there.
Exactly right, yeah.
And the laws are the laws, and there are setbacks, and
No,
these
I
guidelines.
agree,
are what we
but
need,
again,
to
As
abide
far as
by.
enforcement,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That
beyond,
is-
yeah,
that's planning
beyond our
board.
scope, so, yeah.
So all we can do is hopefully it goes the way it's supposed to. All right, old business. I'd like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing of Lake Street, New Bedford Reservoir, Lakes 1, 2, and 4, map 3, lot 13, map 4, lot 49, and map 19, lot 32, SE 0010595. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
A notice of intent was filed by James Kelly, Town of Acushnet, for the property located at the New Bedford Reservoir, Lakes 1, 2, and 4. The application proposed the removal at the root of invasive weeds from areas of the New Bedford Reservoir, Lakes 1, 2, and 4. located in Acushnet using an eco-harvester. The applicant is represented by Scott Daggett, Lake Street Improvement Committee. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Due to the Mullen rules, Rebecca Ann Nelson will not be eligible to vote. Scott, it's all yours.
Thank you. So my name is Scott Daggett, as you all know, part of the Lake Street Improvement Committee, along with Sergeant Gary Coppa and James Gamache, who neither one of them could be here today. So what we're doing now is we're just continuing going on with this process. The last meeting, I think we left off where we had discussed that an order of conditions would be drafted. I have had the opportunity to briefly go over the draft of the order of conditions. Pretty much what I expected. I may have one or two questions regarding it, and of course I'm going to share this with the people at Seeing the Underwater, get their take on it, because they're much more experienced with their operations than I am. So anything that's in this draft that's related to their activities, I'll have him go over it, and if he has any suggestions or comments, I'll have them forwarded to me, and then I will either forward them to Mark, the agent, or any of you on the committee, as well as I will share it with the Conservation Commission of the City of New Bedford. Since they're the owners of the pond, we want to keep everything transparent and above board and keep both communities in the loop.
All right, with that being said, Scott, I have the order of conditions, the special conditions right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of run down them. So this way I know the commission, I don't believe, has had a chance to read these. It'll give them kind of an opportunity to see what they are, and we'll go from there. Okay?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. Projects must comply with the general performance standards established for each applicable resource area in the regulations. 310 CMR 10.54, 10.55, 10.56, 10.57, unless the project is limited, which I believe this project is. So it would be 310 CMR 1053 or 310 CMR 1053.31. A copy of the order of conditions, number one, a copy of the order of conditions and the general operation plan shall be on the site during weed removal operations at all times. No work may occur between April 1st to June 15th in order to avoid minimizing the project's impact of spawning river herring, American eel, presence in the lake, time of year conditions for the DMF, and that will be including all 3 years of the permit. The application shall provide the commission and its agent with notice prior to beginning work on site. Number 4, prior to beginning removal operation, the applicant shall provide the Conservation Commission and the agent with the overall operational details of the project, including the proposed timetables for work, the location of staging areas for the project, the points of access to site access for eco-harvester, and any necessary erosion control measures that need to be implemented to prevent siltation resulting from the work entering the adjacent waters in the event a bank is disturbed. Number 5, prior to weed removal operations, general areas of the target species for controlled areas of non-target species shall be identified and indicated on a map of appropriated scale. The applicant shall take all feasible measures to avoid impacts to non-target species. Number 6, provide to the start of weed removal operation, the applicant shall identify the on-site locations. They will be used for the dewatering and handle of the aquatic vegetation removal, and provide this information to the commission and its agent. And this is including all hay bales, wattles in place before any operations. Number 7, the application and/or the operator should record the general location and the approximate amount of adequate vegetation removed to assist in project evaluation monitoring. Number 8, the application should record and monitor any area of bank or other adjacent resources area disturbed during weed removal operation. The information should be
It
What?
should have been weed. Weed.
Oh, it says weed on mine.
Yeah.
All right, the information shall be geolocated and indicated in a final annual project summary to facilitate monitoring potential pioneer infestation of non-navigable invasive species.
Non-native.
Okay. Number 9, the applicant and any person involved with the work subject to the OOC shall notify the commission or its agent immediately upon discovery of any matter related to this OCC that may affect any area with the jurisdiction of the commission. The equipment operation, number 10, the equipment operation shall be prepared to respond immediately to any accidental release of fuels, motor oil, lubricating oils, or any other potential contaminants. Number 11, a spill kit shall be presented on site at all times during operation. On site, absorbent materials shall be maintained for use in containing accidental spills. Number 12, in the event that any spills occur, the issue authority shall be immediately notified, and contaminated areas shall be treated according to guidelines established by the DEP's Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup, BWSC. Number 13, the applicant shall provide the commission with a general description of the shoreside dewatering process and the materials that will be used, including shoreside location. A general description of the process, the approximate amount of time a vegetation needs to dewater prior to transport, any necessary containment measures that will be employed, and the materials needed, such as ground, tarp, stakes, whatever it needs. 14, containment measures shall be implemented to prevent the disturbance of adequate invasion vegetation during the onshore dewatering process. Potential measures include stake tops, development of temporary containment barriers such as straw wattles. Number 15, the applicant shall coordinate with the Acushnet Department of Public Works, DPW, for the transportation of adequate vegetation removed during the project. Number 16, during transportation, the removed vegetation shall be securely contained within the vehicle bed using a top or other method to prevent inadvertent dispersal of invasive adequate vegetation, what? Aquatic vegetation to other water bodies within the town. Number 17, the removed vegetation should be sequestered from the other on-site materials and is mulched for a minimum of 1 year to ensure the invasive vegetation is not inadvertently spread through the dispersal of viable fragments. Number 18, the application, in collaboration with the DEP, the commission, and the agent, should be prepared to consider other disposal methods such as incineration as necessary. Number 19, the applicant shall coordinate with the commission and the agent and any other parties to develop outreach materials to educate the public about the problem of invasive aquatic species and measure to prevent its spread. We're almost done there. Number 20, the applicant shall coordinate with the commission and agent and other parties to develop signage for posting on site to educate the public about the issue of invasive aquatic vegetation. 21, the applicant, in coordination with the commission and the town of Acushnet, should develop a roll-out strategy to highlight the project and its goals. Local media should be notified and the town's official identified to speak to these outlets in order to promote the work and the importance of the conservation. 22, the applicant shall provide a brief written summary of the overall weed removal activities within 30 days of the completion of work. Number 23, the applicant, in collaboration with the commission and the agent, as well as other interest parties, such as the Lake Street Committee, should meet sometime in the fall to review the project and any challenges encountered, as well as potential opportunities to enhance the improve future weed removal operations. Number 24, the applicant, in collaboration with the Conservation Commission, Conservation Agent, members of the Lake Street Improvement Committee, town officials, and other interested parties should meet to discuss the development of a long-term management strategy for the overall ecological health and affected water bodies to ensure maintenance of recreational opportunities for the public. That's what we got, folks.
So these are all the add-ons you want to put on there? Is that what we want?
These are special conditions, correct?
Yeah.
So, some of these are already on a regular, and like, you got 10 and 11 there, the same thing pretty much, filter.
Yeah, a lot of this is right out of the boiler, off a boiler platform, and then we added some of our own. So we went through Mark went through the book, picked out ones that we thought were the most important, and then some of the ones that we added.
And let me just clarify, so these are just draft, so if you have comments, I know we reached out to commission members for input, so these are just the draft. I believe Scott, I know Scott just saw these as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, Eric, whatever, you know,
Yeah, I'm just,
let me know.
I'm just,
We also, the New Bedford agent, we spoke briefly, but I don't know if there's any comments.
After Scott speaks, I'd be happy to.
Thank you. So I understand what Eric's getting at. As I reviewed some of this, I believe some of these could be combined because they are very similar in description.
Yeah.
So, you know, to make it maybe a little bit more simplified, you
Makes
know,
sense.
based on what Eric had mentioned, you know, some of these could probably be condensed and combined. You know, I understand how this was developed because I did review some of the, you know, the DMF letter and some of the other documents. So, you know, I understand, you know, where they were pulled from and so forth.
I split a bunch of them out just for ease of looking at them now, but I agree, some of these are kind of the same thing, so.
Right.
To delete them, combine them.
Just to ensure, it's just written down. so
Yeah, I
it
don't think it's,
doesn't matter.
It's easier to delete stuff than
Yeah,
add
I
it
don't think
after
it's-
the fact.
And
I don't think
Scott,
it's an
as we
issue.
all know, this is just a draft.
Better off having all
Something
the
we can
bases
all
covered.
kind of sit down together with and give it that final tweak before we make this final decision. I think the board and the public understands that.
Yeah.
That this is just a rough draft.
Right.
This is not
So-
anything final.
So since this is a rough draft, you know, I might suggest that, like, comment number 3, you know, the applicant shall provide the commission and its agent with notice prior to the beginning of work on site. It might be a good idea to, you know, give some kind of a time frame. You know, whether you want like a week's notice or 2 weeks' notice or 24, 48-hour notice. You know, that way, you know, I plan on addressing the majority of these that are not going to be related to C&D underwater. So, you know, when it's mentioned that the applicant, which I am representing, you know, I will go ahead and, you know, manage the majority of this. But, you know, just to give me a good idea of what you expect for you know, timeframes when you want these notices, it might, you know, it might be a good idea to mention it within the order of conditions so that,
No guessing.
you know, yeah, there's no guesswork involved. If you know, if we're gonna start work, say, August 14th, and I come to you guys on August 12th and say, hey, you know, we're gonna be out there tomorrow doing this, that may not be enough notice, because, you know, some of you have expressed interest in wanting to be out there when, you know, day 1 happens. I know I'm gonna be out there when day 1 happens.
And I'd like
I mean,
to be too, and I know Mark would be.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
I've been at this since
available.
2017, trying to get these ponds cleaned up, so to me, it's, you know, it's getting to almost a personal level, you know, I wanna see these ponds cleaned up, so.
And I think we all do. too.
Day 1, I'll be out there, you know, call in a sick day and say, hey, you know, this is.
So what if we do this, right?
Yeah.
So we have, our next meeting's April 9th. What if we do a special meeting just for Lake Street?
Yeah.
This way here, because I know that my April 9th is really loaded. I mean, if we look at the calendar, right, if we give you a couple weeks' chance, we still want to listen to you, though. I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, if we say, let's do a special meeting for Lake Street on, say, March 26th, do you think that 2 weeks is enough to get a hold of the eco harvester, the guy, to go review this with him?
Yeah.
Mark can tweak this up a little bit, and if we just do it for Lake Street, it should be a quick in and out kind of meeting, and we don't,
Yeah.
because my April 9th is loaded.
Yeah, because, in some conversations with Mark, he had mentioned that there would be a 21-day period where we could review it, make adjustments to it if necessary, but what I want to do is if I can get a pretty decent draft and get a draft over to Jeff over at C&D and have him read it, before this upcoming meeting, then we can kind of eliminate that 21-day,
But that's what you want to do, because if you're going to use that 21 days, we can't close it.
Right, and I want to close this.
So do I, and get it behind us, and that's why I'm saying if we can, I gotta talk to the commission too, how does everyone feel about throwing this on March 26th in 2 weeks, a Wednesday night, we'll do a special meeting for, Lake Street, and,
First off, I had a couple other questions I wanted to ask for now, so you might need some time to go over that before we go and make another meeting, and we still haven't even heard what...
well, I know, I said we're gonna talk to Chance right after, I just wanna make sure everyone's okay with March 26th, we can still ask more questions, I just want you to think about that date.
Yeah, like I'm trying to say is, he might need more time
I just
to,
asked, go ahead.
so...
I think March 26th would be fine. As long as there are no other surprises that pop up that, are going to need to be addressed.
Well, that's like what did you ever do any research on how to deal with the beaver habitat?
I did, as a matter of fact. So what I did was I contacted, let's see my notes here, I contacted the Southeast District Office over in Buzzards Bay for, I believe it was Mass Wildlife. Spoke to a person by the name of Deborah Silva. She's the office administrator. Mr. Stephen Wright is the biologist for the Southeast Mass District. I explained to them what we were doing. I explained to them some of the problems that we have, what we believe to be as a beaver habitat, because none of us are biologists, don't really know what beaver habitat looks like. They said that they would be more than willing to come out, take a look, see if it is a beaver habitat, but there's no state regulatory rules and regulations
That's right.
concerning the
There's no
removal.
protections is particular for that?
So what they said, so what they explained to me was, if it were in a body of water in which a beaver dam or a beaver habitat was creating flooding issues, absolutely no problem removing it. In this case, where it's in the middle of a pond, it's not really creating any kind of flooding issues, but it is creating issues. I explained to them that what it's doing is when the biomass starts to die off and the winds blow it, like I had mentioned to Mark, it's blowing it to the rear of the pond. And if you were to go out there in a boat and take a look, you'll see that if this were the biomass, or if this were the beaver habitat as it exists, which comes up to the surface of the water, this biomass is getting pushed and it's almost in a horseshoe shape and it's getting larger. So what it did was it took that beaver habitat and almost doubled it in size. This is what we're trying to eliminate in the small pond. These areas of biomass are just, popping up within the last, I'd say within the last 18 months to 24 months. The one that's over by, I think it's your property, wasn't there. The one that's out in the back, that's over by where we believe this beaver habitat is, up until about 18 months ago, it wasn't there.
So just so the commission knows, the beaver is actually out of our jurisdiction, that is the Board of Health.
Oh, really?
Yes.
For an emergency permit.
You just did a class on this, did you pick up any useful information from there?
Yeah, I mean, if it is causing some concern, then, that is, even if there's one in there, I don't know if you know if it's active or not.
So
but-
they told me that
It's
if they're,
causing concern, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well,
It
they-
shouldn't be
so-
causing any problems, it's a natural habitat.
So I was told that if there is a beaver that's in there, and I was also told that sometimes beavers and muskrats will share the same den.
Okay.
If there is a beaver and it's in that habitat, if you destroy the habitat, the beaver will just move on somewhere else.
It's gonna go.
So the habitat itself is not protected. The beaver is not a protected species in the state of Massachusetts. So destroying the habitat, as long as you're not killing the animal itself, is perfectly fine.
So you're telling me it would be okay for me to go to your house, rip down your house, and just let you go to
Well,
wherever you want?
You know,
And I'm sorry,
I mean, well,
but,
they're not protected. We
but
That's a bit
it should, but
It's not a-
it's not extreme, that's its home, for
But it's
one.
not a protected
But
species.
two, I would believe
Yeah,
it,
but
how
it's
wouldn't
not
it be
like
under
rare out
conservation? It's,
Because the animal itself and stuff is the Board of Health.
How
We
would-
looked into it, and it's not out of our jurisdiction.
It's
The
too large,
beaver
so
is not in our jurisdiction. It's the Board of Health. Anything to do with the beaver, Scott should actually, if he comes across it, he has to go to the Board of Health with it. Am I correct by saying that, Mark?
What I was gonna add based on my research, so if there's an emergency caused by the dam, the Board of Health in various towns can issue a permit. It's good for 10 days. There's also a trapping season, if you want to remove the individual animal, but it's got to be done, I believe, by a certified trapper. You just,
Licensed, yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
license.
Yeah.
So,
So,
and then the point of removing the lodge itself, yeah, I think, you know,
I mean, I think we're better off, just, I guess, destroying the habitat instead of trapping it, because, I mean, I guess with trapping, it has no way of life after.
well,
I'm not advocating any.
Well, you can't
I'm just
relocate them.
providing-
On the other hand, though,
I'm
now
just
if we
providing
take it out of
background.
its natural home, it's gonna relocate, who's to say it's not gonna relocate in the area where it's gonna cause a problem? When it's not causing a problem right now? Is it? No, it's not.
Well, it's
Well,
sort of,
it's-
yeah.
Okay, I want to keep this a little organized, guys, I really do. All right, so we just all, everyone's starting to talk here. If you don't mind, you got a question or you want to ask something, please let me
Go
know.
through the,
Just so we just keep this to a bare minimum here. Continue, Eric.
Yeah, so I just, I don't know, I'm just, like, I just don't wanna create more problem is where I'm getting at with my concern, like, if we just take it out and just let it go, and, you know, who's to say it's not gonna go, and there's also areas where the water comes into the ponds there, who's saying it's not gonna go into that flowing area where that is? It's not causing a problem in my eyes, it's,
Yeah, but so when we, Scott's done it, Mark's done it, we've all looked into this research, right? So we have the right to take his den down. It has the right to go swim away if it's in there, and find a new home, or build a new home. It might cause future problems down the line, but right now it's gonna solve the problem of being where it is.
Can we figure out if they're or not?
Well, so if I may,
Go ahead.
to address your question. So it was recommended to me, for me to reach out to the biologist, Mr. Stephen Wright, April and May, see if we can schedule, you know, a site visit with him so that he can come and take a look, determine if there is a beaver there, because I did see one beaver. It was deceased on the side of the road during a spring cleanup a couple of years ago. He can come out, he can take a look, he can see if there's an active beaver there, which, you know, regardless if there is or if there isn't, we still have the right to take it down if we need to.
Correct.
If we were to take it down, like Mr. DeBarrow said, you know, the beaver will move on. Will he move on to the other pond? Likely. But the other pond is much larger, so it's not gonna create too much of an issue if he decides to create a little habitat there.
I thought we were trying to clean all the pond.
We are trying to clean the ponds and basic weeds.
Okay, so then he's gonna move to another one, and then we're gonna have to kick him out of there too?
No, no. If it's a larger pond, it's less of an issue.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, do you deem that it's absolutely necessary at this point for the work that's going to commence? Is it going to be
In my opinion, I think.
necessary?
In my opinion, I think it would be, because what it's doing is it's taking the the biomass that's in that area, and it's doubling it
Yeah, I
up.
mean, if it's gonna impede.
2-3 years from now, it might even be 3 times larger, and then, we're gonna spend more money removing it, as opposed to spending a little bit of money now and taking care of it before it gets out of control. So the little pond is, to me, the little pond is the one that's critical, because the biomass, it's a smaller pond, it's not nearly as deep. There's areas there that are 6 feet deep, but there's also areas there that are 3 feet deep. So as these weeds die, they're just piling on top of each other. And season after season, you're getting that biomass like you can see, in her backyard. As you're going up Lake Street towards Main Street, you look
Right.
on the left,
Yeah, Main.
you can see it, it's there. And then there's another smaller one that's forming to the left of that. If you left it alone, eventually it's gonna look like Tom Davis Pond, and that's what we don't want.
Yeah.
Tom Davis Pond is the way it is because of the way that the biomass cycle is going on. Growing, dying, piling up, growing, dying, piling up. We're just trying to eliminate it before it gets out of hand. And it's almost at that point.
And if we listen to Chance?
Sure,
Okay.
yes.
What, can I
Sir.
just share one thing?
Go ahead, Ed.
All right, I just, on the whole beaver thing, I don't know yet, I haven't read this all. It sounds like you're asking if beavers live in land that manages by a conservation commission. Beavers typically live in wetlands areas like rivers, streams, and ponds. Sometimes these areas can be parts of conservation efforts managed by committees and organizations that aim to protect and preserve natural habitats. Conservation commissions, committees often work and maintain and restore habitats that are crucial for wildlife, including beavers. They might implement measures to ensure that beavers have a healthy environment to live in, which can include protecting water quality, preserving wetlands, and managing forests. So yes, beavers can live in areas that are under the management of conservation commissions, especially if these areas are designed to protect natural habitat.
So, can I speak?
Give it in.
So from what I've read, Eric, and I think what you're saying is right, you find beavers in wetlands and streams, ponds, lakes. When the authority in the towns to deal with dams rests with the Board of Health, and I can send you the citation of the regs.
I understand the permit section lands with the Board of Health, but us as a conservation commission, we're supposed to be protecting the wetlands, and we're supposed to be protecting the animals that live in the wetlands and their habitats. So a beaver lives in the wetlands, it's part of the habitat, so I just don't feel how it should be no concern to us. So yes, I feel the beaver should be a concern to us. I'm not saying that it shouldn't, and I also think that it should be a concern of us that it's located in an area where it's gonna benefit the beaver and not just, let's rip his house down and let him go where it goes, you know?
I mean, can I speak?
Go right ahead.
I get what he's saying, but unfortunately, they're just not protected. So I guess.
We're supposed to be protecting
I
them.
know, but under, right, they're just not. So there's.
Under the
unfortunately,
rules,
we can't do anything.
He has the right to take the den out.
Okay, so, all right, I'm not saying that he doesn't have the right,
Yeah, no.
but I'm
it's
saying,
not
like it
just
says here, we have the right to make sure it's done in the correct manner.
Well, we're not going in there with a machine gun and,
An excavator?
yeah,
No,
we're not going in
Well,
there.
there is an excavator going in, and that's how you would destroy the beaver dam. How else are you gonna destroy the beaver dam?
That's right. So we are taking, he is gonna take the beaver
So-
dam out.
I just, and how, what would be the time frame for this, what is it, Stephen White, you said?
Yeah, Stephen Wright.
So, Wright or White?
Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
All right. What would be his time frame to come out and even look at it? and-
I have to call, I was told to call, in April or May. I'd rather call early April. I'd rather get in touch with him earlier than later. And, see what he suggests, whether he wants to do a site visit or whether he would just say, well, I'm not gonna, answer for him, but, whatever he suggests, that will do.
That's 4 months prior to the work, so that gives us plenty of time to get in there and for him to check it out.
Yeah. And if you want a contact number, I'm more than willing to share a contact number, and you can call yourselves and get the information for yourself. I mean, I know you're relying on me to present information to you, but if you want to take it upon yourselves to reach out, speak to the biologist yourself.
I just rely on you to give me what you're trying to present to me, and I can use my better judgment to research and make sure everything is correct.
Right.
And that it does not point an issue to the habitat or to the habitat pretty much, in all different aspects and areas.
Right. Understandable.
When a chance comes up,
Yes, sure.
everyone else set?
If everyone's all set.
Yep. Okay, come on up.
Folks, my name is Chance Burks, for the record, New Bedford Conservation Agent. I was asked by both the commission and the applicant to come tonight and just kind of give perspective. I don't want to speak openly. I'd like to address questions to keep both my opinion out of the subject, but also to help put some clarity into this for you. So I'm not going to come up here and speak on behalf as though I'm with the applicant or with the commission. If you folks have specific questions, I'd like to answer them as best as I can. I can at least start with the general statement of I think your draft special conditions are very thorough. A lot of them, like you said, are boilerplate. We in New Bedford do the same thing. As an agent, I can first say, and then we're going to, hopefully take specific questions if you have them. As an agent, I find that it's a difficult job, and when you have thorough conditions like this, it gives you the leverage to use them when and if they're needed. But them being there for their sake isn't going to hurt anything, because at the end of the day, enforcement comes down to when the agent works with the applicant. And so I'm always in the fan of put it in there. If you want to require him to have purple shoes, put it in there. Mark can then determine and use his discretion based on the powers that you bestow on him to then go, are you wearing your purple shoes today or not? Or it's not going to look at that today. But should things go awry, you can then use it. Hey, we asked you for the purple shoes. And of course I'm using it as a metaphor.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt. Like I see this and I go, I would use this because it gives Mark the latitude to use and draw upon these things. But by them being in there, it doesn't necessarily hold the applicant to it, because you folks have the discretion and latitude to go, you've gone awry in this one area and we're going to now fall back on this, which now has the legal teeth for you folks to pursue time of year restrictions, all these things you put in here. Some of these are pretty specific and are pretty binding for the applicant. But again, you folks hold the latitude when it comes time for the certificate of compliance. You folks, and the way the act is written, to my interpretation, you're able to interpret the situation as it unfolds and at the end. So I've always been in favor. As an agent, you want to give them as many of the tools as you can, and having robust special conditions is more helpful. But on the flip side of that, you also have to understand the reality of, for Mark to enforce every single one of these and stay on top of every one of these, in addition to all the other applications he has to review and applicants, it's a yeoman's task. It's quite large. So have them in there, but also know when to push and when to kind of step back, and having trust in the agent. That's the one thing I can say about that. So in specifics, I think special condition number 2, 4, 6, 15, 19, 20, 21, and 24 are excellent. Those are the ones that I was going to recommend had he not. So you folks have put together a packet that I would have if I was in his shoes and in your shoes. Everything else is great as well, but those are the ones I'd like to point out, and I can repeat that if you'd like. But that's in essence, when I was contacted, it was about what kind of special conditions could we and should we put on this. Those are the ones that I would put on there. Everything else is just gravy. So with that being said, if you folks have any questions.
Any questions?
I know I'm gonna keep going back to this B review because I just guy of, I just started obsessing of things. But, now, even though it's not under our jurisdictions, could the beaver, anything to do with the beaver be put into a special order of conditions, or would that be outside the jurisdiction?
I believe it's outside of the jurisdiction.
Is it?
I can speak more to that, but it's gonna drift more into my opinion and not the fact of being an agent. So to answer your question, I believe that's outside of your jurisdiction.
Thank you, Sean.
And Chance, what do you think about number 3? We should put a timeline on number 3.
Yeah, again, this is all up to you folks. I mean,
Yep.
we can go through
Thomas,
this.
in your
Fine,
opinion?
yeah. Because of the lay of the land, 2 to 3 weeks notice is good. You know, people take vacations, people are in and out, people get sick. Having 2 to 3 weeks of lead time allows the applicant and the agent to get together and talk things out. Any last minute things that you folks want to think about, because things are changing, right? Nature changes. You folks having the ability to have enough time to organize yourself, get on site, make sure, you know, your other plans are set in place, but it's also not too far out where it's kind of this, you know,
Lingering.
nebulous date. We have it nailed down, 2 weeks, this is where we're gonna meet in time. That's pretty standard, that's what I would go with. You can go shorter, I mean, as an agent, we oftentimes, in trying to serve the public, we're trying to be responsive, so even the day of, I'll get stuff, but we ask, 2 weeks would be great.
Any questions from the commission? Okay, with that being said,
Anybody from the public, Jimmy?
oh, anyone from the public have any questions on Leak Street?
I'd like to, just, Mr. Vinton, how do you feel about being able to make sure that these conditions and special conditions are met to with the short time frame you've spent here in town already? Do you think it's gonna be more of a burden on you to try to make sure 24
Well,
special conditions? I understand it's a good manner to go at, but I also worry about you only having the time frame you have, and Chance also mentioned just having to deal with all the applicants and all that. I don't wanna see
You
you
mind if I respond to
overburdened.
this, Mark?
sure.
So the other thing is, just so you know, Eric, I am retired, Chris is retired, Christian's retired. I think that we could give Mark some relief if we go there, if Christian goes there, if we can divide it up between the 3 of us. Maybe the first day, all 3 of us go there, so we get our hands, our knives on the very first day it's working. But I feel that between the 3 of us, if we can all join together as a team and go take separate days and just to make sure everything's going fine, I think that it'll take some of the burden off of Mark, and it'll also give Christian and I the ability to talk to you guys when we see you, to say, hey, listen, this is what we're seeing, this is how it's going. And I think between the commission and the agent, we can definitely be looking over 90% of these anyways.
So I'll also add, I mean, in this situation, Scott has been great to work with. I don't feel like, I feel like it's a collaborative effort. And I'm not so concerned, especially there's other eyes that can be on it, including yourself, Eric. I am half-time, but I'll tell you, when I interviewed for the job, I said this isn't a half-time job. So I'm tracking around 30 hours a week, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to. I'm in retirement, and it's, part of the background, my professional background, so I'm having a good time. But you're right, and things get busy, but I think there's, between the collaboration and the commission members, I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about other things, but not so much this one.
Chairman, I'd like to have one more word, just
Go ahead.
as just my final statement. I listed off those special conditions that I think were excellent, as they all are. Clearly, there was thought put into these. But the last several, like the 19 through 24, notably again 19, 20, 21, I think that good things happen when private citizens step up. That's first and foremost. I really think the long-term success of that pond's health is going to be in the public education of the residents, specifically folks that are in the watershed. And unless we crack that nut, We're gonna spend more money than anything trying to pull out weeds, because we're not gonna fix the problem. And it's attractive. When we see the eco-harvester out there, it gets people excited. And so using the momentum of that is, in my opinion, couldn't or shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be very much part of on that first day out, make as, I don't even know where to say, make as big of a splash as you can, to highlight the great work that a volunteer has done for this, but also in the work that you folks are doing, also as volunteers, wonderful that you step up. Educating folks, getting people to take this personally, is what's gonna change behavior, and we know the causes of non-point, pollution. So I really think that me coming here tonight after hours was really make the statement of the public education campaign is paramount. Besides that, you have a lot of other small details to work with, but I just want to kind of point that out and really kind of reaffirm that that's how we move the needle.
Thank you, Chance. With that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to move this to the 26th of March, Lake Street only, for a meeting at 6 PM.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Joanne, are you gonna try to do it here or at?
We have no choice but to do it here,
Okay,
so I just gotta check with the chief.
all right. So Scott, we're gonna plan on the 26th unless something happens with the chief, can't allow it, but we'll plan on the 26th of March, 6 PM. And you're gonna be the only one here, so it should go smooth and relatively easy.
All right, thank you.
If they don't allow us to do it here, we can also do a Zoom, right?
I'm not into the Zoom, my own
We'll figure it
personal
out.
opinion.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
There's the conference room.
We got the conference room.
Yep.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Chance, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chance. Scott, thank you.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks, Chance.
he's on the checklist.
Okay. All right, continue public hearing, NOI Stormwater White's Farm Incorporated, 211 Middle Road, map 23, lots 29, 29A, 29B, SE 0010596. I'd like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
Motion to continue the public hearing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Notice of intent, the stormwater applicant was filed by Zachary Fox, Middle Road, Acushnet Solar LLC, for property located at 211 Middle Road, maps 23, lots 29, 29A, and 29B. The applicant proposes to construct a ground-mounted solar array on a portion of the open field within the property located at 211 Middle Road in Acushnet. Work is limited to the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland and bank. The applicant is represented by Sarah Stearns of Fields and Thomas Incorporated. Plan name is Middle Road PV Solar Development, dated September 10th. Reviews of matters presented, votes may be taken. Due to the Mullen Rule, Rebecca Ann Nelson will not be eligible to vote. They did put a request in till April 9th, so I am going to entertain a motion to continue this till April 9th.
Motion to continue to April 9th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Continue public hearing, NOI Matthew Botello, Mattapoisett Road, map 10, lot 14.14A, SE 001-0599. I'd like to entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
Motion to continue this public hearing.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Alphonse, how are you? A notice of intent was filed by Matthew Botello for property located at Mattapoisett Road, map 10, lot 14.14A. The applicant proposes to construct a single-family house with a septic system, roof area infiltration system, well, associated grading, and a small portion of the paved driveway within the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. The applicant is represented by Alphonse Coca of KBM Design Group LLC. Plan name is proposed single-family dwelling site plan, dated December 16, 2024. Reviews of matters presented, votes may be taken. Rebecca cannot vote, Nelson can, because they did sign the affidavit regarding the Mulling Rule. Alphonse, go right ahead.
Good evening, my name is Alphonse Coca with KBM Design Group. So the project is, the applicant is proposed to construct a single-family house on Mariposa Road, labeled as Lot Number 2. The project, besides the house, going to have a septic system for a 4-bedroom, a roof recharge system that will fully infiltrate the 2-year storm event for 3.2 inches of rain, a driveway with a 2-car garage. On our last hearing on January 15th, I believe it was, the commission raised some concerns and comments about the project. Since then, we had the project peer reviewed with the GAF engineering. And we made some changes that the commission requested and the peer review requested. First, we regraded the front of the area of the site to create a little swell right here, that all the runoff from from the septic area, that's going to be elevated, and the roadway will run towards the wetland as it runs today. We lowered the rear of the site, but still maintain some fill to maintain the separation from the recharge system to the groundwater. We added the demarcation fence, a split rail fence, from Mariposa Road all the way near to the 50-foot buffer zone. The driveway, I regraded the driveway and then added an infiltration trench on the side with a small knee wall. This way, the majority of the driveway will run towards the infiltration trench. That's going to have a 6-inch perforated pipe that will run towards the infiltration system and fully be recharged for a 2-year storm event. Any storm events larger than 2-year, than 3.2 inches, will be they'll overflow on the top of the pipe and then discharge at this corner right here with the flare section and riprap, and then go towards the wetlands where most of the water goes. Besides that, and also with the regrading of the front area, we're able to pull the tree clearing closer to the site and maintain a little bit more of the existing vegetation there. The approximate fill, based on my calculations, the net fill was about 880 cubic yards for this site.
How much?
880, almost 900. Yards, and again, the high groundwater requires us to lift the site, so the foundation is done on the water table, the septic needs 4 feet of separation, and the recharge system, anything less than a 10-year storm event is 2 feet of separation. That's why.
So just so everyone knows, today I actually called Alphonse, and him and I, we went right down the list of the peer review. I went right over the plans with him. He's got it all into details on sheet 3 of everything that Bill Madden was looking for, GAF was looking for. He crossed all his I's, he dotted all his I's, crossed his T's, right down to all 11 of them. I don't know if you guys have this, if you do. I'm not going to go over it and read it all. I don't think we need to, but everything that was GAF recommended, they did, and they addressed every single one without an issue.
Oh, man, Chairman.
Go right ahead.
I don't take nothing back. I appreciate all the changes that you've made to the site and all the concerns that would bring up this, but I think one of our main concerns, all of our main concerns was that the pond being too close, so that would have landed under delineation. Did they do any soil samples or anything like that type of deal to make sure that that was all landed in the correct manner? You know, that's what I thought was gonna be going on here, not just the site, not just the paperwork being looked into, but I feel like there was more great concern between all of us about the setbacks and off the wetland.
Well, GAF reviewed it all. I don't believe they sent out another botanist to go delineate it again. But I don't think Bill had any issues with the delineation line. he went right by the plan and went over everything that he thought was an issue.
We also supported the delineation paperwork of the botanist from, I think, Outback Engineering that did the flagging. We provide that one with the NOI and also to GAF for review. So, and on the,
Yeah, but they didn't go out and look to make sure it was correct.
No, GF went all by the plans. So if you're saying that you think that the first botanist was a liar, or didn't
I
do
didn't
it
say
correctly?
no
No,
liar, so
didn't do it
nobody's a liar,
correctly?
First off,
Yeah.
is-
Didn't
hold
do
on,
it
let's stop
correctly?
real quick. Nobody's a liar, okay? So botanist, in the botanist, there's a lot of interpretation involved. I don't know if you're aware, but some botanists will feel strongly upon one thing than another, and there is a lot of difference. Like, if you look at other projects we've had peer review go out to, and other botanists go out to, specifically solar farms that I'm speaking of right now, the lines were drastically different, right? Because every person has a different interpretation of where that imaginary line should be. And I just thought it wasn't just me, but all of us saw that and we're like, whoa, wait a second. And then the laws really stated about the setbacks really being determined on what that was really gonna affect. It wasn't gonna affect the neighbors. So, and even with the change that we did on paper, so now 310 CMR states that we have to push the water back into the wetland like we are, but now we're definitely gonna be putting more water in that area, and I don't wanna see it impact the neighbors.
I don't think we push more water there,
No,
recharge it.
I don't agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna catch all the water off
Between
the roof.
infiltration and the, the recharge, I don't think we're gonna be adding more.
Of course you are, because now you're taking impervious surface and you're changing it, so now you got a roof and you're capturing everything off the roof and it's going into a pipe which is getting recharged into the system. All that water that comes down into the ground originally, unless it was a stormwater plan. Now, if it was a stormwater plan, then it would calculate for the runoff that was differed from the site plan.
So I have a lot of faith in GAF and Bill Madden. And he did all the calculations for the water. He checked all the recharge system. He's gone over everything.
We did provide the calculations for recharge system. It wasn't just a arbitrary system. We provided calculation for 3.2 inches.
2-year.
2-year storm event. And again, and we went by the Rolls rate for infiltration rate, which is very conservative.
Correct.
So it's not we didn't do a full head test, and we got an actual infiltration rate and used that one. The Rolls rate is a very conservative number.
Yeah,
For infiltration of soils.
And I also am in the business and I understand that everything looks good on paper and then you go to do it and it turns out.
And the system is very simple. There's nothing complicated.
A
It's
lot
all
different.
gravity. So it's roof. All the roof leaders will be underground piped to the system. We have plenty of elevation to make it from the front to the rear, and the driveway is just a simple.
So how many gallons does it hold?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but again, we ran the HydroCAD calculations. I provided to GAF. I don't have in front of me how many cubic yards the system holds, but again, it holds and recharge at the same time. Any storms over 3.2 inches will overflow.
Right,
Trickle.
to the
It will
back,
trickle, yeah. It will trickle to the back, to the
into the wetlands.
wetlands. So there was no additional water going to the pond for any, it has to be a very large storm event.
Yeah. I was just, like I was saying, I was just still concerned that it was even, there was enough room there in between. With the
I think the
setback.
additional grading is gonna be very helpful as well.
Correct, from the original plans, they
Yeah,
changed it.
that's
Correct,
right.
and then nothing is going to the street again, it's being
and then,
captured to,
He added the knee wall,
so the above is protected.
right?
And just so everyone knows, there's
Minimize.
11 items that he changed on this plan
I
to
understand.
improve.
But he is mighty close to that neighbor, and I just don't wanna see a future a future issue
I agree.
arise. You know, a lot of these projects, that's what
Jimmy, I
happens.
just got one question.
Go right ahead.
Did we, by chance, look at this elevation-wise to compare this to that neighbor that's right adjacent to the right of that property?
Correct, so.
What's the elevation for the proposed 900 cubic yards or for elevation versus the home that's right there to the right? And why I ask that question is my concern about, again, flooding.
Correct.
Did we look at that as a plane?
So the house to the south, plan south, the existing house there, 231, the finished grade at the basement, the foundation is 51, and then at the top of the septic system, we're at 55. But we're about 70 feet away.
So
And
we
then
have a 51 versus the foundation that's over here,
And 21.
right?
55, 51.
55 and 51.
55.
The top of the
51, the house a
septic, the
couple
top of
feet
the
high.
septic is 55.
But as we go towards the driveway, when we go there, we go down to 54, and then the knee wall drops down to 51 at level.
Right.
So
Okay.
we don't have any slopes towards
Okay.
the abutter, just
That's-
the knee wall, and the knee wall is about 6 inches higher
Yeah.
than the infiltration
Well,
trench.
no, I'm-
Okay, that's what I was
Absolutely,
hoping,
yeah.
I was gonna hear from you, is the knee wall, and
He's got the
Correct,
6 inch
it
pipe.
bisects that one, it doesn't allow any
Carry it to the-
steep
to the
runoff
reach.
Okay.
towards the abutters, correct.
thank you. That answered my question.
So, anyone else from the commission? Anyone from the public? Okay, with that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion for the NOI on Mattapoisett Road.
Order of conditions.
Order of conditions. Do I have that one? No, I don't. I don't have that one, Joanne.
First, you need to close the public hearing. If you're gonna vote tonight?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna close the public hearing
Motion to
first.
close the public.
Motion to close the public hearing? So
Motion to
moved.
close.
Second.
Who's second? No, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the order of the conditions are, do you have them? I don't have them.
Also,
So he's gonna make a motion.
what is it, more special orders and conditions?
So,
Jimmy, you're gonna make a motion to accept the conditions, the order of conditions.
right, but he wants, we're gonna read off.
I'm gonna
the
read 'em
standard
off.
order-
Okay.
order of-
Easy over there, guys.
Excuse me, Jim?
You wanna take a picture of
So
that?
what are these, these are special orders and conditions?
These are the order conditions of the project. Right.
I know, are you adding some to the
No,
normal?
No.
Those are added in already from a vote the commission took a long time ago, but I think we should be saying it every time. The applicants aren't aware of what's actually in there.
Okay, general conditions of the Massachusetts
So
Wetland
it's just
Protection Act.
number what, 19, Jim?
Yep,
All the rest is standard. What is, these are what the commission added in, what prior agent. that
For
we-
every project?
For every project,
it's 19.
yeah.
19 is just the
So-
beginning, yeah.
So just where it starts, where it says special conditions, erosion control inspection on
Oh,
site.
okay, right here. Special conditions, erosion control inspection on-site meeting with contractor within 5 days prior to construction. Site visit from agent at end of construction. No stockpiling of materials, no equipment stored, no refueling, no portable toilets or washouts from concrete in the buffer zone. With that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Can I see that real quick? Just so I can-
It's the one in bold letters.
Thank you. There was more of those in there, wasn't there?
No, that's.
Don't write on that.
Yeah.
Don't write on that.
So we're supposed to be doing this on all of them?
That has been
Okay.
in
This one,
effect.
we need to do some work.
That has been in effect since your prior agent, I don't know if it was before your time, Eric, but that prior agent, when he came aboard, he wanted those special conditions on every single order of conditions. We haven't been reading them out loud.
I don't think we've
Jimmy-
even been enforcing them.
I think we have.
I know we're not, because I know of projects that I've drove by personally that don't have some of that done, but we won't get
Then you
into
need to pick up
that.
the phone and call, so we
Yeah, maybe.
can get the agent out there.
Yes. So there's time and place for that, Eric. All right, with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion to give them the NOI.
Motion to
Order of conditions.
With the order of conditions.
make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
What was the
Aye.
motion?
Motion to accept the
Order of conditions on the
as
NOI.
read.
Okay, so that would be, you're putting in a motion to accept the project? too?
Yes.
Okay.
All those in favor again?
Abstain.
Aye.
Rebecca, what were you? I'm sorry.
Oh, aye.
All right. Eric was abstained, Aaron, aye.
Yeah.
All ayes except for Heidi. And I will
Abstain.
I didn't know, I saw you voted.
Heidi voted aye.
accepted?
Oh, I-
Eric
I said Eric.
Six,
Oh, I thought Heidi.
right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, you want to pass that back to Julie?
Rebecca can't vote.
I know, that's what I thought, you wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
I
didn't.
forgot all about that, I'm sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and
And one, and one to the
So
vote.
5,
And I
0,
abstain.
1.
Yep,
I
One
abstain.
Mullen,
What?
Mullen.
Mullen, but
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, new business. Public hearing, RDA, Deborah Auburn, 10 Nice Lane rear, map 18, lot 25. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A request for determination was filed by Deborah Auburn for property located at 10 Nice Lane, rear map 18, lot 25. The applicant proposes an in-kind replacement of a 24 by 40 garage. The applicant is represented by David Fredette of Fredette Engineering Service. Plan name is Proposed Garage Foundation Plan Sheets 1 through 4, dated February 14, 2025. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Dave?
Good evening, my name
Hello.
is David Fredette, for the record. I'm representing Deborah Auburn. She lives at 6 Nice Lane. This project is actually in Acushnet. 6 Nice Lane is in New Bedford. This project is in Acushnet, just on the outside of the line. So I'm assuming that you've gotten the set of plans from the foundation plan that I did. It's 4 sheets. We just got copies of the PDF plans for the actual garage. I didn't print up a whole bunch of those because it's a different size print, but if you'd like to look at them, I can pass them around. Yeah, why don't we pass them around? I'll let you open them up and pass them around. I'm actually more inclined to just ask or answer questions if there's any questions. But the garage itself burned down a year and a half,
Yeah.
about a year and a half ago. And as a result of that, what's left on the ground is the existing foundation and slabs. And the client wants to just rebuild the garage in the same place, same size. And the only change with what we're looking to do there is add about 25 feet of actual foundation wall, because on the south end of that garage, there wasn't an actual foundation wall, a freeze wall. And we knew that that would become a requirement under the building department. So that's the only thing that we're adding on there. Other than that, I was out with the visit from the commission, and we were told we would be okay to put hay bales or silk fence or wattles approximately 10 feet on the outside of the garage and wrap it back into the backyard so that it would protect the wetlands. I don't have all the wetlands delineated or anything like that. This was just kind of a replacement project, and we took it we made it as simple as we could make it. And we think that we're okay. I think the commission is happy with what we need to do with respect to protecting the wetlands, and that's basically all I ready to answer for questions.
Did we get any site plans on this?
It's the garage, right?
You don't have any site plans?
Well,
With elevations and anything?
well, everything's kind of controlled by what's there already, because the garage just burned down to the ground. And we're not changing the location. We're gonna raise the foundation wall 6 inches so that it's above the ground a little bit, but we're not changing the location at all.
So, Mr. Fredette, for clarification on this project, to my understanding, through the site visit that we were on that particular Saturday, the concrete pads, we'll call them pads, that are established there, you're no longer going to use those, you're going to demo those, and we're going to create a new foundation.
Correct.
I understand what happened, the garage burnt down. The understanding I kind of got off the bat was, the original intent here was to rebuild the garage, to my understanding, on the same location where it is, but on the same surface, which is the cement pads. That somehow was misconstrued, I think, where it's not going to be relocated to those cement pads. So those cement pads are scheduled to be demoed for a new foundation. So I'm looking at this project as new from the ground up, at this point, through my eyes.
It is new from the
Okay.
ground up.
Right, I just want the clarification that the cement pad or cement foundation that's there is scheduled to be demoed and a new pad or foundations to be poured.
Yes.
For clarification, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
What's in existence is a 24 by 24 concrete block wall that goes down to footings. And that is the part of the foundation that we're going to try and reuse by taking 1 quarter of brick block off, or 2 quarters of block off, and rebuilding it. The contractor may just use concrete forms and pour concrete, but the actual foundation is going to be reused.
Yeah.
On the south end of the garage, what was originally there was built on just a slab. So Andy Bogler mentioned that we have to have a freeze wall going around that section. So but the plans show a new foundation wall going down to 4 feet to connect to the existing footing, new wall coming up to the same grade, and then, like I said, we're coming 6 inches up above the existing ground, because you don't want your structure a wood structure right on the ground. You need to have that up a little bit. So that's the only change that we're actually making, is the 6 inches that we're coming up on the exact same foundation. And the slabs are so, the internal slabs are so beat up because of the cleanup and demolition that she had to go through to get the materials taken out, that they're just not even usable.
Right, and that was the clarification that I wanted the public to hear.
Right.
That was scheduled to be demoed, we're actually pouring, or we're gonna create a new foundation.
Correct.
And we're putting it in the vicinity of where the structure was. And I only said that just for clarifications, okay? Because I think there was a little misconstruction going on there. And that being said, on this project, myself personally, I would like to see this to go for an oversight, for peer review, to have it, number one, delineated, and for variances, because the neighbor is so close to that property. I'd like to, and I don't know if there's an issue with the neighbor, or there could be an issue with the neighbor. I'm only saying, in my eyes, I would like to see it delineated and see variances on this project to take place, because we are in some wetland boundaries there, and there's a lot of debris that's been pushed down in that area, a lot of things that need to be taken out of that area before this project even begins, and that's where I stand on this project.
Okay, I'd like to say one thing. I know I went out to the site, met you, Mark and I met you. Obviously, everyone saw how that yard has been backfilled. I mean, over the wetlands, guaranteed. Was it done years ago? Yeah, it was, right? I don't think to ever say that we should go in there and rip it all up is the right thing.
Correct.
That's gonna be. I don't think we need to, where the garage is, I don't believe we need to delineate, because the delineation line now, if they go way out to the wet edge, you're gonna be 50 feet away from that shed. If they take an auger and try to auger that ground, they're never gonna get anywhere, because it's all brick, stone, it's urban backfill is what they use.
Yeah.
You'd have to
Right?
dig it out.
What's that?
You'd have to dig a section, this law states you gotta dig a section down to the original.
Right. I don't think we should put anyone through that. It wasn't her that did it. It was probably her husband, I'm not sure. All I'm saying is that when I went out there and looked at, I feel very confident in putting wattles, silk fence, whatever it takes around it. That's my own opinion. I don't feel that getting the botanists out there and putting flags into the wetlands, because they're not gonna put it where the bricks are, or where the backfill is. I don't think that's gonna help, and I think it's gonna put a burden on her for expense. That is not gonna help. That's my own opinion, and I'll listen to the commission.
Okay. You wanna go first, man?
I've got a quick question, but just clarification. Sorry to jump in. So I know, Dave, that we discussed when Jim and I were out there, and it's come up before, there is material that's been stored that's there on the edge of the wetland, and I know we discussed that, you know, there's recognition that it's there, and that the willingness to try to clean up some of that material.
Right.
And that, again, this was just discussions we had, but maybe you can speak a little bit to that, or you don't have to, I just wanted to raise that point.
We were even discussing on site, removing that fabric shed, getting the plow out from behind it. I actually was talking to her about pulling all the pipes out of there, getting everything at least like 40 feet away from the wetlands that are very obvious. If she does that, and she has that going forward, I feel that's a real good start. It's not gonna fix the damage that was created, but she knows that she has to move it all away. She actually was saying she's gonna try to get her grandson to help her and get all the materials that are along the edges back into the inside of that site. I know that we can put it on the RDA, that has to be done, and we can put it on the RDA, so.
It's actually in the description of the work that we're proposing.
Was there ever, oh, sorry. Can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Was there ever a building permit issued in the first place?
Originally,
And like, cause now, it kind of got me thinking now, we're talking about frost lines and stuff like that. Who's to say the footing's not bad? Now we're gonna have to redig the whole, I'm just.
yeah, it all has to be
Like, there's just no
excavated.
site plan at
The
all.
whole thing needs to be excavated.
Well, we don't know, because Dave said they're gonna take a front, top row brick off.
Right,
Dig on the inside.
there's no footings.
There's a footing underneath the wall.
There's an inside area that's got foundation wall and footing, but the entire footprint is not.
So you got 3 walls.
It's not have.
Then you gotta do
Is it
walls.
legal in the first place? That's what I'm getting at.
I guess,
Well,
I'm just-
here's the only problem, Eric, and this is the truth, after 5 years, it don't matter.
No, it's not for me, this isn't a question for me really, but this is gonna run under something for Andy Barbola. I am in favor for it to be, it's her to rebuild, but at the same point, I've also had a lot of different complaints personally about Andy doing things that don't quite end up working out the best or perfect. I just wanna make sure she doesn't spend all kinds of money on putting this building up and then it not be correct
So-
because the foundation's jumped.
So if that building's
It does
up,
look jump.
if that building's up longer than 5 years, it's automatically grandfathered in. I found that out. So whether she had a permit or not when they put that garage up, it doesn't matter, because she's been getting taxed on it forever. So that means that's all set, whether I had a permit or not when it was originally built. She's been paying taxes on it for a long time. Now it's going forward on the new permit, you're asking?
No, I'm kind of making sure that she's aware of what was built, and that if, say the frost line is, she's in the frost line, at her best expense, it might be in her best interest to have, instead of only having it raised 6 inches, maybe she wants to change her plan a little bit. But I don't even have a site plan to look at and judge. It's just to make sure that her project is done in correct manner.
Well, that's what she hired an engineer for, to make sure that the 6 inches is adequate.
Do we have a site plan
Well,
with elevations
Yes.
and all that? I have not received nothing.
take a look at this. This is my file copy. I did supply them, I don't know,
There was
I think he's
no,
got it in the car.
there's a foundation plan, the demo plan, the foundation plan, slab plan, and the details.
yeah, but this is not a site plan.
And yes, it's not a site plan. The reason why it's not a site plan is because we're just building what was there. We're rebuild, the existing slab and footprint is very evident. You know, the foundation wall, the foundation slabs and all that stuff. So this is just a complete rebuild.
It'll be up to code, obviously.
What's that?
It'll be up to code, obviously, it's gonna be new construction.
Well, because it has to be new construction because
So it's safe.
the building is completely burned down. So yes, it will be completely out of code. Does anybody else want to look at this?
I just want to recommend to the board, like,
Yeah.
Hold on one second, guys.
I just want, like, with the whole silt fence thing, I think 10 feet's gonna be a little burden on trying to get any work done in there. Like, could we bump it out for them a little bit? You know, maybe to the edge of where it's already filled in, it's already filled in anyways. We just stated we didn't want it, maybe we could give them like 20 feet or something.
I'd like to keep it as close as possible, my own personal opinion.
Well,
Because we just don't
well,
want
that's-
anything else to run. It slopes down away from the garage.
The excavator that's going there is 8 foot wide. So how is so now he's gonna have to put everything.
His excavator will be in the middle, 4 feet on each side of
So
it.
he's gonna have to so you can't.
Yeah, I see what your point.
So
is.
David,
Exactly what you're saying.
The excavator's, even at 4 foot, now a truck, there's not room, that's a very tight quarters for him to work into a
Dave,
state.
what do you think?
Well, here's how I envision the contractor doing this work. The slabs, all the concrete slabs are coming out.
Correct.
He should be able to just go right over the middle of that
Right,
garage
right inside,
and pull out the slabs.
right?
Clean out the concrete slabs, all the apron slabs and everything like that. The concrete block, my recommendations on the sheets are, it needs to be removed carefully because if you destroy, I know that there's a footing because I probed in several of the hollow holes down 4 feet. In fact, my probe went right down, so I know it's at least, I think it's 3.5 feet. So I know it's at least 3.5 feet. If he does too much damage to those blocks that he's gonna remove, he may have to go down another course. And, and the option is there for him to remove the entire thing. But he may be able to remove a couple of courses, put some 2-foot forms up, and pour concrete to make the walls. That's how I envision him being able to do that. However, from 24 feet back to the 40 feet, he has to put a new footing because there's nothing there. So but the excavation in that area is more open than along the side of the garage. That's the only reason why we could probably make the 10 feet work.
Well, it says.
Do you want to go to 15?
It
If we could
says
go to
10.
12 to 15, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I always agree with that.
Get like, it just, even, so at 10 foot now, you gotta realize what you're saying, that means 10 foot off that other side too, because the silt fence comes down the side and all around the back.
Right.
So that means that whole thing's gonna be surrounded 10 foot.
No, we were talking, when Dave and I were out there, we're gonna take, when he comes around
Oh,
that
I
back
know what you're
corner,
saying.
we're gonna shoot to the other corner. We're not wrapping that back
Right,
wall.
you're not gonna return on it, right?
Right, so quickly, Eric.
Okay, well,
No.
I'm just going by what was just stated, it said 10 feet around the foundation,
Just on
10 feet around the
just on
foundation.
the one
is 10 feet
side,
around the
right,
10
foundation.
feet,
The
and
back.
then when it comes across to the other side, it's gonna shoot to the corner, almost to the corner of that
Okay, so
fabric shed.
This is where we kinda gotta watch how we do this and word this, because this is where people make errors and we're starting to try to micromanage a project. I think if he just has 20 foot all the way around the significant room and there's no room for error.
Here's what the plan was. Along the garage for a distance, and once we get to this point, this is the edge of the garage. this would go at an
Okay,
angle
and that's-
to the.
I'm not trying to fight your issue, I'm trying to give you more room.
No, no,
Let's get that straight, I'm trying to give them more room. So if you guys wanna do 10 feet, hey, I'm good with it.
Like I said, I mean, we can go 15, but I do want to keep it as close as we can to the garage.
We'll go no more than 15.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, do I have anyone in the audience? Come on up.
My name is Jeffrey Geipel. I'm here with my wife Kathleen. We've been living at 10 Nyes Lane, which abuts her property, for 17 years. We rent the property from Arnold and Margaret Mata, who are at 18 Nyes Lane. They're not here. They asked me to represent them regarding this. I have no opposition to her building the garage. I really don't. My concern, and I've printed out pictures, is the amount of water we get in our backyard. I did not realize that was wetland back there. I mean, now I'm understanding why we're here at the commission. I didn't quite understand why. But we get a ton of water from what I'm assuming is the wetlands when it rains a lot and we get snow, a lot of snow melt. You'll see it in the pictures. It really, really, really floods. So if she wants to build another garage up there, my question is, and the same thing with the owners of the property, is how do we remedy that water situation where that water's not gonna come back at us? Because it's washing away and it's sinking our property.
Correct.
And the little garage we have, and you'll see in the pictures, I mean, it legitimately gets flooded in water all the way around to the front.
So let me ask you a question. Since that garage burned down, have you gotten any more water issues?
Not since it's been burned down, no.
So it was only when the garage was
When the
up?
garage was up. And again, I don't understand construction, I don't understand none of this, I'm just here because of concern of just all that excessive water that we get towards our end, so I don't know how any of this works. And
That's what I was just pointing out, because look at, this is the corner of this building, right?
How long ago did the shed burn down?
April 13th, 1923, 2023. Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah,
So we've had significant
It's just
rainfall since 2023.
Yeah.
That's the water there, the water meter in the front.
Yeah.
See, my understanding also from talking to the town, when the DPW comes, because we have the water meter in front of the house,
That was the office.
is that there's a natural stream that also runs underneath us. Because even the water pit, the water box in the front gets really, really full of water when it rains a lot, or even if we have 1 or 2 days of sustained rain. So I'm not sure if that also contributes to how much water gets put in our backyard, because we used to have septic. We're now hooked up to sewer in
In
town.
the city, yeah, the town
Okay,
around, yeah.
and the reason why the owners did that was because when we would pump the septic out, you'd actually see natural water drain back into the
Continuous,
tank.
right?
You know what I'm trying
Oh,
to
I
say?
do. I know
So,
exactly what you mean.
you know, I'm not opposed to her building the garage at all. I mean, what happened was crazy, believe me, our hearts dropped too, but we're just trying to understand how all of this.
Right, is this a separate issue, or is this the runoff from the roof, which I don't think it's a huge structure?
Yeah, I know, sir, I don't understand. This is why I'm asking, I'm here,
Right.
because I don't know.
I mean, it burnt down in 2023, we've
Yes,
had
sir.
significant rain
Yes, sir. That's
since
So
2023.
this is January
If you look at-
24.
If you look at that picture there,
Yeah.
that is after we had a lot of snow out.
Yeah, but she had no garage up.
No, the garage was not there at that time, sir, you are correct. So this is what I'm saying to you, I don't understand if it's because the structure was there, or if it wasn't because the structure was there, because
No.
our land has, it's continuously dropped.
So I think this is more of an issue than just a garage, truthfully. Right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm,
Yeah, so you got January 2024.
Yes, sir,
here.
that is correct.
That's a little over a year, almost a year after the garage burned down.
To her credit,
You know what?
when she put up the new arborvitae's along that back section where it all burned down and she removed it, whoever did it actually mounded, if you
A
will,
little bit of a berm.
put a berm so that the arborvitae's would take hold. Because she will tell you that even when the garage was there in the rain, she started losing arborvitae's. They would literally fall into our yard because they had no root. They couldn't, there was nothing for them to grab. Since she did that, and she had that come up, those arborvitaes have not moved, and we've had rain since. Do you know, I'm not opposed to her doing this.
Right.
I'm asking on my behalf as living there for 17 years and the owners of the property just want to know, like, hey, you know, how do we resolve that water thing? Because
And something else to take into some consideration here too is the landscape has changed, as we all know by doing this site visit. There's a lot of materials that have been added to that site, gravel, broken brick, concrete, asphalt.
Yes.
Pushed to the extreme, to the boundaries of the wetlands. That can itself create an impact.
Okay.
Because it becomes an impervious surface at that point. So the water is just, it's staying on top instead of soaking.
Instead of having it, you ability to drain away.
Right.
Okay.
And, you know, we've encroached the wetlands areas. Yeah, it should be a concern.
So I see here where the garage used to be, where it was burned down, I see your picture. I see that where the garage is probably 1.5 feet above the water.
Yes, sir.
This might be something you can work with Dave, and it's only a suggestion, put some kind of drainage here that goes towards the wetland.
I think originally when the late Dennis Osborne
See what I
was
mean?
alive,
Oh, yeah, what's in the
he
back?
was working
On the
with
shed,
the
you
owner
say?
of the property, and they were working on some sort of solution to
Put a
put
culvert in.
drainage away from the front of the...
From the side of your garage per se,
Yeah.
to the back beyond her property.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think it's something maybe, you know, Dave will be able to help you out. Maybe, you know, I don't know if the owner of the house is willing to say, hey, let's talk with the engineer, and maybe while they're there working, they could put some kind of little drainage system
Oh,
in.
yes, sir. I talked to them yesterday over the phone. They're in Florida right now, and they are willing to work with it. I mean, they're not opposed to the building going up. We're just concerned about the water.
Well, like I said, this was no garage, when her garage, so you got an issue there without the garage being built.
Yes, sir. That's-
So it's more of elevations, and you have no place for your water to go.
Yes, because her property, her driveway, in one of the pictures when we moved in there 17 years ago, was kind of level with our yard. Through the years when her husband backfilled and kept building up, it actually elevated her driveway above our yard. I mean, just naturally, we stopped backfilling, it adds. You know what I'm trying to say? So over time, it's just,
Going in.
It's gotta run off.
it's gonna go someplace and it's coming to us, you know? It's just an unfortunate, you know.
I mean, I don't know.
Can I speak on that real quick?
Just so you know, like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm Dave Fredette.
Hi, my name's John.
Thank you.
Hi.
This is all new to me, so.
So this to me, Dave-
I'm more than happy to
Yeah,
help
looks
out.
like a stormwater issue, right? So here's where the garage is, or was. See their yard, that's right next to that little garage. What about putting some kind of drain back there?
So this is their garage.
This is their
That's
garage,
his shed.
that's his shed.
Yeah, it's a
garage.
shed, yeah.
That's where,
Shed.
your garage is, so
It's
the
a garage,
arborvitae's
it's
here
over
now,
200 square feet.
right?
You are correct.
So what if?
It is over 200?
Yeah.
Put some little drain.
That one door is 8 foot
That's
wide,
that's the slab right there, see
10
it?
by 20.
It's that
That's
little.
where the
shed where
arborvitae's
I
are.
put my lawnmower, snowblower.
Right.
This alone,
you know,
Technically, by the bylaw, though,
It's still considered.
it's a garage.
Yes,
Just along the edge of
Yeah.
the.
you are correct, yes.
It
sir.
is, yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Good.
I'm gonna just put it out there, it's unfortunate that there's flooding going on there. I don't believe it's her property that created the problem, I think that just those houses were built in a time where the setbacks and everything weren't the same, and that, let's be honest, that's all in a wetland, so I think it's just getting over flooded from.
That's
Yeah,
that's the
groundwater.
garage.
Oh,
So she,
okay.
this is this building right here.
That's another thing.
That's just gonna be another issue. It doesn't matter if he puts drains or he doesn't put drains, when the water table comes up to that level.
There's the arborvitae's, yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I know.
So it's another
What
view right
happens is
there.
when the water
That's-
comes-
That's his,
The water,
that's his
that's what I was
garage.
talking about from.
That's the old.
Because now that
original-
freezes and it cracks.
What do you get a check this one? Gotta get a check.
So the water level comes up
We can
to that
get
area,
more
and it's gonna flood, and so it's a
That's just
wetland.
where the water.
It was
No,
originally
he said that.
all a
He did say
wetland.
it.
So the water's basically gonna drain to the least.
Trying to incorporate this. Do I need the 500?
Well, it just comes, it's coming from the bottom up.
Yeah, yeah.
So Deborah, I want to ask you a question. Would you be willing to work with the other owner as far as maybe, between you, the other owner, the engineer, maybe we can come up with something, it might have to go across your filled-in area, that might relieve them from prevent, so it don't happen to them again. It ain't gonna affect you.
Well, it's kind of wide open there, Jim, though.
What's that?
It's pretty wide open, their backyard, right to that area. It's coming from the ground up.
Have to look at this a lot.
And you put a drain in the ground, it's still gonna be wet. The drain is just gonna be underwater.
I'm not saying a complete drain underwater, I'm talking more of a spillway or something like that, Eric.
Yeah, but we're getting at, it's coming from the ground up.
Yeah.
So
So if it's this elevation here at the water, back further behind the garage, it goes way down toward the wetlands. If they could try to maybe look at something, maybe design something between them and see what they could maybe come up with to try to relieve this. I mean, this is a stormwater issue too.
Well, yeah, but it's not gonna happen. Just the elevations and.
It's the elevations. No, it's the elevations.
The elevations
It
are
is.
there,
No,
it's gonna happen,
absolutely
it's gonna continue to happen. That's why our new setbacks, our new laws were put into effect so situations like this don't happen.
I mean, what Dave could do though is shoot the elevations and see how far away it is to drop it. All I'm saying is so it don't pond up in front of the guy's garage. Or the owner's garage.
It's in the water table, it should have never been built there.
You're right. You're right, you're 100%.
That garage was probably there before they originally bought the house, which I believe was back in 2005 maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm also, my wife and I are also interested in purchasing the property from them. So, it's also in our interest too to see how everything works and how, you know what I mean? We've been living there for 17 years, we have 3 boys we've been raising.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, again, I'm just, for me, it's a lot of research data, and also for them, which they're not here, and I'm sitting there in Florida, it's just, I don't know, I want to be educated on how all this works.
And you can, go online and do some more
Jimmy, is
research.
this something Mr. Fredette can work with and try to resolve, do you think?
I mean,
Well, my own personal opinion, I think maybe Dave could take some elevation shots.
Yeah.
And see if there's any way maybe this could be relieved.
Okay.
If the elevations ain't working in that favor, I mean, you see over here with the water on the left side of this, that's probably equal to what's in the wetlands.
Yeah.
So a drain will not do anything.
Well, that's why I just said shoot elevations, Eric. I'm not saying do anything. Shoot a couple elevations, see if there's anything that he might be able to help pitch it, or maybe not.
Like I said, the owner of the properties, Arnold and Margaret Water, are very open to work with this gentleman and Mrs. Alden as well.
We can do that.
This is not like, the garage, this is,
No, I mean, the garage has no effect of this.
They voiced their concerns to me yesterday over the phone and asked me to relay it to you guys. And I'm also relaying my concerns as, prospectively being owners of the property ourselves. We're just trying to.
So the only promise, I cannot promise that the drainage is gonna work.
Right.
Because the wetlands that he's talking about have to be lower than that water.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
surface.
yeah, that's
But
what
that's a simple matter of checking
When
some
they burn,
elevations.
these all get lost.
And
It's more
So then
than
they
just
put
checking
my
out
guys
things
all
all
garbage.
together.
Oh, 100%.
Otherwise it's worse than that.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah.
you can do it.
Yeah, there's no,
Pretty straightforward.
there's no,
Yeah.
like, we don't want her not to build a garage.
this being,
In that picture.
yeah.
Well, I can tell you that in front of that garage door where the gutter pipe is, as a matter of fact, if you're more than welcome to come by, if you see my red minivan, I can go over it with you. It's usually 3 or 4 inches.
Yep.
It gathers, and like it, and I can also show you where her husband is with.
I'd like to put in a motion, a motion to continue this to the next meeting.
Second
Give us
that
more
motion.
time.
I agree.
Okay, I got a motion to continue it. I got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna continue it
Thank you very
till
much.
April 9th.
Appreciate it.
April 9th. Dave? Continue it till April
But do you want
9th?
more time?
Or do you want a little more time?
You want more time?
I won't be here because my dad passed.
Oh,
I
sorry.
didn't hear that.
I'm gonna be not
Oh,
coming
wow.
back until
Jesus.
day after Easter.
April 23rd?
April 23rd?
Okay.
All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to continue this till April 23rd
Motion
meeting.
to April 23rd for continuation.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
April 23rd.
Do you want another site visit too, or just, no?
No.
Just-
No.
I don't think we need another site visit.
Okay.
And I asked a question, if this is, I know it's associated with this project, but it's not really related to the garage,
Correct.
can she get permission through this commission to move ahead with the garage?
No, we just continued it. We're gonna have to do that next meeting.
Further discussion.
Yeah, but you know something, Dave is correct though, right?
We just continued it.
I know, but we've done it before. I don't know if I can or
Well,
can't.
you can
I'd like to rescind the vote.
Well, excuse me, if
You got a
Bill in
chance.
here.
you don't mind, you can continue the vote, but
What, you gonna work
We won't-
for the next week?
We can't,
we're just asking if the garage can still proceed.
The next meeting, we will make our decision on if the project will pass or not through our board. We just need time to go over these other facts that have been presented in
Yeah,
front of
but
us.
this has nothing to do with the garage. Absolutely zero. So I would like to entertain a motion to rescind the vote.
Okay, whatever.
You have the power to do that.
I know.
I just did. Can I get a motion?
I'll second the motion.
No, you can't.
I can't. I need a motion.
Oh.
If you want to go
I'll make the
forward.
motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I'm saying.
Okay. So now,
So what do you want to, so we...
I'd like to entertain a motion that the RDA get a negative determination so she can continue with the garage.
Go ahead, make the motion. Motion.
Wait,
Ladies.
can you just wait a second, please? So you're gonna have to put something in there that has a timeline. Because once I issue this, you have an area that you can add some conditions. So do you want to condition it to a date that he would come back with some further plans?
No, they just pushed it along. They just pushed it along. Instead of us having time to continue it, to go over the special order of conditions, to go over everything, we just
But this has
That's
nothing
not what
to
I'm
do with
talking
the
about,
garage.
Jimmy. I'm talking about the drains and all the other things you guys were just talking about.
That's still with this, has nothing to do with her garage.
No, her garage, you were just talking about putting drains in her garage.
No,
No, not in her garage at all, Eric. Not in her garage at all. I
Didn't
did
you
not,
say something about having drains off the
some
roof
kind of
drain?
drain system.
Didn't you say something about roof drains?
No, I said the gutter. If anything,
Yeah, the gutter.
the gutter for that.
That's what I'm saying.
In other words, David, when the,
So
on the
that's
roof,
what-
on that side of that property,
That's what she's
With-
she
stating
can't
right
put the
now.
downspouts facing that property.
Okay, so that's what she's stating, to have him redo the plan, so that stuff is in the plans.
Material from
Right, okay.
That's what she was asking.
siltation barriers, if you're gonna condition it, that would be that.
We wanna write it in?
So you want to, like, Max, go ahead, Mark.
So you can condition an RDA. And so if the commission wants to do so, you might want to consider what's been discussed. Siltation barriers within a certain distance.
Maximum of 15 feet?
Right.
There was also discussion about trying to clean the yard up and getting stuff off. What is clearly, whether you don't need to delineate that piece, because you can see the wetland, the material that's there to clean it up and get that removed. That could be another condition, if you want to
Do we
consider
wanna put a
that.
timeline on that?
Can we just continue the meeting to go over this, not on live, and you can go over it with Mr. Minton and have it all done? That's all that continuing was about. I don't know why we had to resend the continuation to make all this stuff written.
So
To
Eric,
continue the garage. It's a garage.
Never mind. You're just not
I know what you're saying, Eric, but what I'm saying is, why are we holding her up for a couple minor conditions? Silk fence, that's a given. Any kind of wattle or whatever they use, we can put in. Second thing is the gutters. Make sure the downspouts don't go in the neighbor's direction.
Okay.
Anyone else?
You said
I would
something.
consider something, having some representative of the commission at least do a site inspection during construction when you start moving
And
that.
And as far as her pulling the material back, that ain't gonna happen overnight with her grandson and stuff. I mean, do we wanna give her 4 months? After the date of start of construction, she has 4 months to get that whole edge cleaned off? I think that's more than fair, it puts her through the summer.
If you think that's fair, then.
How do you feel, Deborah?
I already have it planned to clean up next week already. My grandson's been working there, but I hired him.
We're gonna give her 3 months.
So then we'll cut it back to 3 months, Deborah, to get everything pulled away from the edges up in the middle,
Okay.
all right?
So I think that's fair.
All right, so 3 months to process, clean up siltation barrier within 15 feet of, how do you word that? With the 15?
No, not within the 15 feet, that's outside of 15 feet.
You want outside of 15 feet, okay, siltation barrier,
All that is all on the wetland line.
oh, it's all on that, okay. And then downspouts,
That's what I need, we just need time to put it together,
all
right?
right,
I'm rushing into this.
We technically have 21 days from the commission taking action to finalize orders of conditions. This isn't an order of condition, this is, we're conditioning your determination if that's what the commission is comfortable and decides that's what you want to do in this case, but I'm
I just
assuming
don't feel like we should hold her up.
we can wordsmith it if we have.
I
a general-
agree, Jimmy, I'm in agreement with you. This flooding problem is a separate issue from the garage project. I agree with you 100% on this, and let's not hold this project up.
Do you have a date of when your contractor is supposed to come and do this?
As soon as I get the foundation in, they'll come and,
So you're assuming he has time open to come right away?
well, I would like to get the garage sooner.
Okay, so
So
in
I'm
realistic
planning on-
world, the
by
contractor
summer
is
should
not
be
gonna have
done
time to drop
completely.
everything he's doing to jump right onto a garage.
True, but
You got a permit,
if
everything?
we postpone to the 23rd, and then we still have to wait another 3 or 4 weeks, we're gonna be in May.
Because you.
Oh, I didn't pick the 23rd.
Let's do it.
Whatever.
Okay, with that being said, under those conditions that were read off, I would like to entertain a motion to do a negative determination of this RDA.
Make that motion?
Second. All those in favor?
I'm gonna abstain now.
All right, there you go. You're welcome.
I don't know what I'm voting on at this point.
Okay, discussion. 550 Main Street. Navison Solar Site. Reviews of matters presented, votes may be taken.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate
luck.
it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Evening, guys.
And you are?
Yes.
Steve Campbell, Navison, COO. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had a bit of an issue with my engineer getting things out. So he just got billed, final plans, as-built, end of last week. We talked to Bill, Bill's not ready to sign off. They've been going back and forth on things, but for some reason, it just wasn't done. If you remember the process plan, Bill wanted to sign off, we wanted him to sign off on the as-built, as is, what's in the place, the plans that were associated with that. Then we would take that, modify the plan slightly for what we think is going to happen in the interim here. All in the interim, I'm still maintaining.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Someone talking? Deborah?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm still maintaining all stormwater on site, except for that southwest basin, which is going off to the farm pond in the other direction. We still have cameras out there, we're watching everything. We're ready for next week. The ponds are empty right now. The one thing I will say is we have already started scheduling landscapers to go out there, reseed, get stuff down, start, especially on the entrance. And we're gonna overseed and we're gonna hydroseed, aerate and overseed in the array itself and try to get that popping again. I have in my mind, and I've said this before, a couple of things that I want to do. I want to modify Basin 3, which is the northernmost basin, the low outlet flow. I think that's too big. And then the basin from 2 to 3, I think that orifice is too big. Bill agrees with us. We think we can get around with modifying those low flow orifices, but he won't start that until we finish the as-built. So he has the as-built. I think we're almost there on the as-built. and then I'm gonna file all the other stuff, but I do have all the landscaping guys already set up for the first 2 weeks of April.
So, are you looking to come back around the 23rd?
Of April?
Yep.
Okay.
Or if you don't think it's enough, I'll throw another
I'm
meeting
trying,
behind it.
I would love for you to say I could come back and be the second on the 26th in 2 weeks.
Do we?
But,
We don't.
No.
didn't you just?
Nice try.
Wait a minute, man. Oh.
That was smooth, don't get me wrong.
So,
No.
here's what I'll do. I will come back on the 23rd of April, that's
Okay.
fine. I will guarantee, we will be done. I will have pictures of what's out in the field. We will have done stuff on the main entrance. We'll hydroseeded things getting. I think we're still in this plan, and I've committed to this, and I'll keep telling you this. I'm not gonna open up those bottom 2 basins until Bill tells me I can. Once we get things down, I'm gonna have Bill come up and inspect it. All the stuff that we need to do before we start opening this up.
Well, that's why I didn't say April 9th, because Bill's not here to say, yes, I think I'll be ready.
That's right.
So that's why I moved it to the 23rd, because now I know if Bill has time, and we should be pretty well
Yeah,
set.
and I'll keep in touch with everybody. You'll know if we're done. Bill will sign it off.
I'm sure Bill's
We'll
gonna
get
get
it
ahold
over
of
with.
us.
And then I'll come back down on the 23rd. And hopefully we'll be okay. I'm still considering that there is gonna be some sort of monitoring here over the spring and into the summer, once we open this up again and
Or for
start
the next 23 years?
40.
Wow. Yeah, at least you're good.
I have 39-year lease on the project.
So I just have a question. So Bill's okay with you calling the landscape or having the landscaper scheduled to come in and do this work that you've got slated?
Yes.
He
It's
is.
all from Meridian's original plan and the specs on all the grass seed and everything like that. So it's per plan
Yeah.
in areas that have not been completed to plan. And so he's already mentioned the front area when you come up, like right when you come up off of Basin 1, that's when you cleaned up all the area around of Basin 2, which were where all the tanks were. I will confirm in writing and have Bill say it's okay.
That's what I'm looking for, as long as Bill is comfortable.
Yeah.
Because you've been down this road before.
Yep.
And having to do this project over again.
Numerous.
And then having to do this a third time would be a complete nightmare. As long as he's giving you the 2 thumbs up, I think the commission would be comfortable.
Okay.
In, proceeding forward.
We're not changing no loam, nothing, bringing no loam
I'm very long.
in? Yeah. You gonna strip it all or just play over?
Just add.
Add where needed.
So I think, Jimmy, if we could get that from Bill as an okay for him to have the landscaping, underway on a time date.
I'll get that in writing in an email and I'll submit it.
Send it right over to Mark and Joanne,
And Joanne.
and then Joanne can pass it
Just
to
so we're
us.
taking the right steps.
I 100% understand.
I had a quick question for you, if you don't mind. Let me get my direction, north, east, top side. What's going on over there? Are you pulling the rest of those stumps and doing any grading up in that area?
So on the plan, that is supposed to be stumped and left,
Okay.
as is.
No dirt, nothing, no grass, nothing?
Nothing, stumped and left as is. That was the original plan, that was it. We've thrown seed down there, but there's no soil up there.
No.
It's just grindings and stumps, so we're not really getting much up there. If I could get like a meadow mix that we could just let go, I would, but that is just as per plan.
Yeah, because I personally took a stop down there when it was frozen, where I could chase some water, because it was all frozen, and I saw some area up there that brought me concern, I just didn't know maybe if you wanted to run that by, we were getting some seed and loam up there, just to try to slow something down, I don't know.
It's gonna be tough to get anything in there. We'd have to strip out all the stumps, and then it's just gonna create more of an issue than we need.
Okay.
And I'll ask Bill, but I think that we'd have to get, it's all stumped and grindings. To get anything growing out there, we'd have to pull all the stumps, which I don't want to pull it. It's gonna make a bigger mess than we need.
It was pulled, that only works on hardwood.
So,
Yeah, it pulled stumps.
I
and
appreciate
pulled-
that. I'll get Bill to sign off on that. I know we're trying to document.
And as soon as he signs it off, send it to Mark and Joanne.
Yep.
She'll send it to us.
Okay.
Then we all know that it's good and golden.
Okay.
And I plan on seeing you on the 23rd.
And we will be done.
I hope so.
Or at least I will be done with Bill, and then you guys can agree to it.
Make the motion.
All right. This is just discussion, we don't need a motion.
Oh, okay.
Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next for discussion is 588 Middle Road, possible wetland violation. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Mark, update on 588?
All right, so we've all been out, or a number of us went out last Saturday, saw the site. We didn't walk the entire length there along the river, but I think, for me, I think there was a verbal statement that, or in question, are you done cutting? And that, the answer was yes. You know, we're done cutting, but that's verbal. I think we should proceed with a formal just cease and desist, friendly enforcement, don't cut anymore. I don't know what the commission thinks about that. One of my concerns is, and I think most of you know I'm not here to you know, I don't own a pair of jack boots, but you know, I think that front portion is what really grabbed my attention originally, there by where the mulch or the wood chips are all piled. That's mapped as a forested wetland, and it's pretty much destroyed there, so that in of itself is of concern. I know there's some other concerns, but I won't speak for other people, but, you know, there's still, at least what we saw Saturday, there's, you know, still trees down in a brook up front there and, you know, going down the river. And, you know, you know, I mean, I can appreciate some of the, you know, what we heard from the property owner on Saturday, but I still think, I don't think there's a forest management plan. There was apparently.
There was, and to my understanding, that forestry plan expired, so that's null and void.
Yeah.
After my understanding and my talking with her.
Yeah, and there's.
She still has it, it's still under agricultural.
It's not active.
Yeah, it is.
It's expired.
No, agricultural.
No, that ain't agriculture.
Yeah, it's on, if you go on the I got the picture right here. I'll share it with you. Hey, I'm not saying anything wrong, I'm just stating
She openly
what the
admitted
laws,
it expired,
what
correct?
every.
Agriculture, you can't just go in there and wipe out wetlands.
I'm not saying,
There
I'm
has
not
to be a
saying that.
forestry
I didn't, one of my questions is going to be, what zoning areas were what? Because it is zoned, did you check with planning yet?
So.
I mean, it starts with A. No, the one that controls it. Assessors. Did you check with the assessor's office yet?
Well,
That's up to say that.
yes, when we've got the plot, the card. But
then you-
I want to, but back to, and it's a mixed zoning.
Yeah,
But
so-
back to,
No.
back to forestry, my understanding, having talked to the forester for the southeast region, is you've got to have a forest management plan, even if you're in wetlands, and there is an exemption, it still has to come before the Conservation Commission. And really, the thing you really need is a forest cutting plan, which is separate from the management plan. And from what I've been told, it doesn't, there's no forest management plan current and no forest cutting plan current here in Acushnet. I can do some more digging, but at some point it becomes, if you have an exemption, you need those two pieces in place. And that would bring any activity in front of the commission, whether it was exempt or not. And a little bit of the onus, or at some point, if you have that, which would exempt the work, you got to present it to the commission. My understanding, I was told that the forest management plan expired, I think in 1990.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe it was the,
Yeah, so, I think that's the next step, is to just, and apparently, and I'm sorry, Christian and Doug, it appeared that there was still some more cutting going on near that lot right there. And I didn't notice it, but,
Yeah.
but it,
I felt that way.
I felt behind that large mulch pile that's there,
behind
the cutting has exceeded far beyond what I recognized the very first time that I laid an eyeball on it. We were there, I'm not sure what was going on the day we were there, but there was some equipment running. It sounded to me like a chainsaw. I can't assume, I didn't see.
You know what that is, right? Do you know what that is?
Yes, Eric, I know what it is over there.
You know what the machine, all right,
I feel there's something more going on to this property than we all know
Okay.
about at this
It's
point.
Pico.
Yeah.
So let's do this, right?
Can I finish?
Oh, go ahead.
Please. Sorry. I feel this is more than a verbal cease and desist. I think as a commission, we should issue a formal in writing cease and desist letter to this property owner. What I saw was pretty upsetting. Trees in the riverbeds. It was just a hideous land clearing that was just left abrupt in the wetlands.
Very unprofessional.
Very unprofessional, and I feel that there should be some enforcement taken on it and possibly some replications enforced on this.
So why don't we do this, Doug?
Hold on.
Let's take and vote right now to send a cease and desist. I don't think we have to put it to a motion because this is only a discussion, but we can take a vote. So all those in favor of a cease and desist on this property, I'd like to hear from them right now.
I'll make the motion to issue cease and desist.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I haven't been there.
I'm in a negative, nay,
You, Eric's a no,
no.
and Heidi abstain?
Yeah, I just don't know what you're all talking about.
It's the, yeah, you do, it's the one we walked through.
and for me, I
Remember the
think
one that
this,
we illegally walked through?
288, I mean,
588?
588.
The one that we went to without
That has nothing to do with it.
permission?
We all, that all
Nothing.
did
There's solar fields going on top of the bogs.
We went back out there.
The one down the,
I'll be over.
yeah.
So how much
That's right.
agricultural if they change it to solar fields?
Jimmy,
So Eric, the other thing is, I don't know if you know this, they're putting solar fields all over those bogs. So that takes away their
They have
agriculture.
an open NOI.
Yes, they do.
Oh, well,
RDA.
then we're good. Then we were good.
It's an RDA right now.
I gotta check on the dates, but it's
Yeah,
close that
we
they might-
believe
might
that
have
they
to
got the
be filed.
permit extension. So we're gonna look at that, so they got 2 solar arrays going on the 2 bogs that are in there.
Okay, so if it was open, like I stated that other day, we were fine. But everybody didn't have that information and they said we didn't have it.
I just actually pulled the files out today.
Okay.
And it started in 2018 is when they applied for this. Then they got the extension because of COVID.
Yep.
And then since they got the extension of COVID, I believe they're gonna be able to grab this extension. We gotta really look at the date, Joanne and I were discussing that today. But if they get the next extension, that means they're probably gonna go forward with the 2 solar fields on top of the bogs.
But an RDA is an extension.
So now if we put a
After
cease,
5 years.
if we put a cease and desist on, was any of that work irrelevant to the?
The bogs has nothing to do with the tree clearing.
No, there's.
It's not even the same way. Matter of
Well,
fact,
well.
I just wanna read one
I'm not
quick
saying it
thing.
does or it doesn't, but, you know, Doug was just saying about stuff going on in the back, were they clearing more tree, was it, do you have any plans or anything on it?
So no, but I get this, and I'll just read it real quick. Michael Lottie was presented to discuss the project. He brought in an aerial photo. The applicant is not clearing any trees on the land, period. The upland bogs will be the location for the installation of the solar array.
and,
I'm surprised they don't even know they have an open one.
So what I'm saying is those trees have nothing to do with even like the solar fields.
No, she stated what it was for, it was a hazard, she was worried about the hazard trees falling on the building, was one of her reasons, which was on the back, and she has the barn right there, which.
Well, that's pretty far away from the barn.
No, the barn was right there.
Eric,
That's the house?
Eric, I took about 15 photos of that site. The clearing that was done was not even close.
Okay.
To some of the trees that were taken down, as small as this small, as big as this big.
Yeah,
As far as you could see. And then that roadway that was cleared out in the back, where that cedar was dropped in that stream, there's more than meets the eye here. Something else is happening here that we don't know about. Whatever their intentions are, we don't know, we don't care. We were called out there originally on a complaint. That's why we were there. And we have the right to follow up on the complaint and go on the property. And yes, now it is posted, no trespassing.
I did.
Just for everyone's
You did pay
information.
attention to the other memo we got emailed too, right? With the court cases on it and all that? You did read through those?
Say that again?
Did you read through
Yeah.
the memo that was
Yeah, yeah.
sent to
I know.
us? So it is a touchy area where we do have the right and we don't have the right. Because there was a couple cases in there where we don't have the right.
Well, that's why we went back out formally
Yeah.
and to view the site. I'll say that the cease and desist, I think we should say, put something in writing, and I think that in of itself will address these questions. What else is going on? Is there any other work going on out there? I ask, who's doing the cutting, trying to figure out, and I guess it's the
So what's gonna go on with Pico? Is that gonna stop Pico from doing business now? Because that's Pico and they're zoned industrial.
Is Pico clearing?
They're doing that's where all those wood chips and everything is stating at. That's all from the grinder.
Well,
They
so let's do
grind it.
this. Let's put a cease and desist on 588.
Well, that's
Send it to
all-
them a certified letter, stop everything, and let them come before us. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Whether it's Pico, whether it's her, I really don't care. I want that property to stop.
And-
So Mark, please finish.
Sure. Yeah, so, and at this point too, we know from the initial complaint, we haven't seen all the clearing that's going on the property. We had pictures that were part of the initial complaint that showed, looks like it's from the southern end of the property. I don't know exactly where, but, you know,
So you-
again, I think it's prudent.
Any land clearing, all stop. Whether it's Pico, whatever, anything at 588, all cease, all clearing, all tree cutting, all everything, period, until they come in front of us. Whether it's Pico,
It's not
whether it's the
everything I'm
owner.
trying to get at, like, do we have to cease and desist? Can Pico still conduct business? Can Stanley Tomquist?
Is that on 588?
Yes, it's all.
That would adhere to anything happening on 588.
So what does Pico lease the land from her?
Yes, it's under
Okay,
industrial.
so all stop. Everything goes stop.
Okay, guys, whatever. Hey, that's what it is. That's what
Mark,
it is.
please finish.
Yeah, well,
I'm just trying to clarify. That's it, I'm trying to clarify. All stop is like,
It's all stop, 588, all stop, period. Whether it's an industry, or whether it's a company, whether it's her
I'm
personally
just
out there
making
with a
sure we
chainsaw.
have, okay, we just gotta.
Yeah, I think in the cease and desist, we wordsmith it, we tailor it, so if people are out there trying to do business, they're not in violation of the Wetlands Protection Act,
Right.
they can
It's
come to
gonna
the
pertain to
commission
wetlands.
and
That's
discuss
the-
it, and I'll
Well,
extend that invitation.
That's what I'm saying, if we put a cease and desist, they're gonna come to us. If
Well, you
Pico,
just said all, Jim.
all, I'm
That's
serious.
not all.
What we're saying though is if we put a cease and desist on all, Pico is gonna come up to us and say, what do we do now? Then we're gonna go see what they're doing and we're gonna say, yay, you continue, or nay, you don't. If the owner comes up to us, this is what we're doing, can we continue? We're gonna say yay or nay, and we have the right to do that, Eric.
All right, I'm just trying to stay out of liquidation.
There shouldn't be no,
Oh, there's gonna be, they're definitely gonna sue.
why? We didn't do anything wrong, they
I'm
did.
not, okay. We'll just continue with this. I'm
All right,
sure the-
please get that
the-
certified
very
out.
happy.
Certified mail, get a letter out to them, everything on 588, all stop, until they come to us, and that's including Pico.
All right.
All right, next.
So, Mr. Chairman,
We have to vote on that, don't we?
Yes.
Mark,
I
if I
think we
may,
already did.
Mark,
never-
while we were out there
you
having
never-
the discussion of the
You guys
lot,
abstained.
You abstained, I mean, she abstained, you said no,
Not for
for a cease and desist.
That's right. It was on a cease and desist, Eric.
with all-
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go ahead, Doug.
Mark, while we were out there having that site visit and trying to have a friendly discussion with the property owner, she openly admitted throwing a couple of names out of who was out there clearing. Could you share that with the commission, please?
Well, the one name that when I asked who was clearing the property was Stan, was the tree warden, and that was the only person she said, mentioned to me, so I don't know if there's anybody else, I don't know, disposition, anyhow.
I talked to you the first time we were there, and I told you it was Stanley and it was Stanley's father that were cutting the trees. I then stated I would call them. I called them and talked to them to verify what was going on. Then we verified it. Now we're here again.
Okay,
So
nobody's gonna get angry.
I can reiterate, again, my understanding is,
No,
there's
you don't have people
exemptions.
throwing people,
All right,
like,
I'll just leave it there, I don't need to
whatever.
restate it. It's,
Let's just do this. Let's get the cease and desist
Yeah.
order out on a certified mail, and we'll hear back from people once people have to stop.
and
Do you want it on the next agenda for discussion again?
Yes,
Yes.
the other step that I'm gonna take is also reach out to DEP. I've already talked to DEP a couple times, but just to let them know that, you know, where we're at, and I certainly, let the town administrator, just give the town a heads up, you know, informally, that, you know, this is out there, and as Eric said, it may be a litigation risk, but I think the way forward is.
You're gonna stop Pico from controlling business. He's definitely gonna sue.
we're not shutting his company down, we're shutting that job site down, period.
It's not a job.
Well, back to just due diligence, I'll let the town know that,
Yeah.
as, you know, that.
I mean, if people
there's
ain't doing
definitely-
nothing wrong, they're gonna come to us immediately.
Yeah, and when
And
I.
then we're gonna have a discussion.
And when I wordsmith the letter, I'll make it clear that, you know,
Please
we
come
want to
back.
have a discussion, there's issues,
Yeah?
come to the commission, we'll put you on the agenda. Yeah, so.
All right, so let's move on, please. So next is 6 Lambert Street, wetland replication update. Oh, excuse me?
Labonte.
Labonte, I'm sorry. 6 Labonte Street, wetland replication update, review of the matters presented, votes may be taken. Mark?
So I handed out this paper. This is from Steve Schneal. I went out, this is the replication site, and I've brought it up before. I think at this point, Steve said he's not really getting, he's still working on it, I'll just leave it there. But my opinion is the replication site was not a good site on there. You've got some invasive species that are in there, which indicates, they're upland species. It indicates that they're, and Steve has confirmed this, you've got ledge in there. So part of the replication site was on ledge. Short of trying to blast that out, and you don't know how deep you're going, you know, I mean, what's the recourse? And so what Steve is proposing to do, and I concur, is to try to remove some of the invasives, that would be hand pulling them. Jimmy, you brought up an issue about the disposal, so I can convey that, but he's also proposing to go back in and do some additional plantings. And I guess they're looking for a certificate of compliance by after the 2025 growing season, so sometime in the fall. What I would propose doing, you can review, that's basically, we worked together, but Steve created that. We discussed it. The next step I would suggest is setting up a site visit for, it's April 4th.
I think,
Sorry.
4th or 5th?
5th. If people want to go out and look at it, in my opinion, again, the site was not the right site to try to replicate a wetland. And without going into the details, you know, the invasive species is kind of evidence of that. Although we did have a drought, so hydrology might be, you know, might have impacted it, but to try to remove that and do some replanting. And I think then we close the books on that one, because that would be my recommendation. You know, again, you know, the property's changed hands at least 3 times. probably 3 times, but you've got a property owner, you'd have to get in there with equipment and everything else, and you'd still have the problem of the hydrology is not correct for a portion of the site. So that's not to say there is some area that's been replicated in there. So I would say, and I don't have the square footage, but I'd say probably, he might cite it in here, I forget, but, I think the majority of it is actually taken, and he's talking about doing some additional planting.
So I read this today, and I was going over it today, and they're saying hand pulling the mud warped, which is one of the worst. So my big concern with that is what is he gonna do with it once he pulls it, right? You can't put it in a compost pile, because if someone grabs that, takes it somewhere else, it's gonna spread. So I think we should get him in here for maybe the next meeting, saying that, hey, listen, if any weeds are pulled up, we put them, double bag them, put them in a brown bag, leave them in a brown bag, let them dry rot, put them in the garbage, let them go that way.
Can you burn them?
Probably after they're dried you can, but I think they should be put in a bag first, make sure everything gets killed, destroyed, and then go from there. So if you wanna talk to Steve and see about coming in so we can go over this with him, or do you think just an email to him saying that this is what we're looking to do?
Well, I think we've got a little bit of time, so, I mean, he's saying coming in for a COC at the end of the growing season. So I would say if anybody wants to go out, we can add it to the site visit. If there's not interest, we could do it individually, if people, have time and just want to go see it separately from a formal site visit. Your decision. I know that Saturday is filling up, but.
Yeah, I don't think we should do it on the 5th.
Yeah. Did we send this down the road for peer review, the replication?
No, I don't think so.
So if the replication is in question, Jimmy, why can't we send this down the road for peer review?
When are we gonna send everything for a peer review?
So I don't know about sending it for a peer review, but this is what I'm gonna say, okay? This paperwork, once you read this, Doug, you're gonna really see the guy really is, what it is there's an invasive weed.
Yeah.
And it's hurting his replication plants.
Yeah.
So he's suggesting that they just keep pulling these invasive weeds and hopefully plant more replication plants and let them overtake. Once they overtake, then it should stop the mugwort from growing.
Okay.
Just my biggest concern is what is he doing with that invasive weed, right? So if we can get him, either through an email or whatever, to confirm that he's willing to make sure they double bag it, let it die, whether they burn it, a few weeks later or whatever, but it's gotta make sure it's not spread.
Okay.
So, and to your question, I don't know if you're familiar with this project, but my understanding is, before my time, but my understanding is there were other problems with the whole, there were 4 lots, I believe, in there, a road was put in, so I can go ahead, I'll go back and take a look at the NOI and see if it was peer reviewed. I don't remember
I
offhand.
don't know, that was before us.
Yeah, it was before us. That's why I asked that question, okay?
I'll say, I'll just say this. When I went to grad school, my major professor was the guy who developed the classification system for wetlands that's used worldwide. University of Rhode Island. Haven't worked in wetlands for a while, but my thesis was wetlands restoration. For whatever that's worth, a quarter,
So
I'm looking at it, this was not the
are
place
you
to put.
comfortable with this?
Yeah, and I think we can invest a whole lot of time in something that the outcome is basically gonna be the same.
Okay.
And I think it's better use of our time, my time,
Yeah.
going forward, making sure other stuff is done right.
Okay.
I think, like I said, if we can get Steve to confirm that, he's gonna make sure these weeds, invasive weeds, get taken care of.
Okay.
And not just thrown
Yeah.
into a compost pile at the barn or
Right,
something.
and I think we all agree at this table, we want a good replication done.
Yep.
Right, that's 100%.
And he's fighting it.
Right.
And he is fighting it.
Right.
So if he's willing to fight it and get it done like it's supposed to be, these weeds have to come out.
Right. Yeah.
But so the next step would be site visit, y'all, we can put it on, the schedule if other things, are more important, there's other more pressing things we need to look at.
19th?
April 5th would be the next.
No, the one after that.
19th.
What if we do April 19th, site visit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's put it on the April 19th site visit?
Are we voting on this?
No, this ain't a vote. And we'll put it on the 23rd agenda?
Sure.
How bad is that one looking? Okay, good.
Just don't know, because
Right,
the
a lot can come up.
deadlines aren't
Yeah.
until, April 2nd for April 23rd.
Okay, so let's go to other businesses. Any other business that may properly come before the commission not reasonably anticipated when posting 48 hours prior to the meeting. Future business. The next meeting of the Conservation Commission will be on April 9th, 2025. Meeting is to be held at the police station conference room located at 64 Middle Road, Acushnet, Mass. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.